What I've learned is that if we can step back and find the appropriate starting point, our innovations have a much greater chance for success. And what I'm talking about here are what I call hotspots for innovation. A hotspot of innovation is where the current product or service is providing way more value than the customer needs or way less value than the customer needs to achieve what he or she is trying to achieve. So I'm going to take that idea and I'm going to dive down a little bit farther. So if you look at the bottom half of page 1 there of your handout, I want to look at 2 scenarios. Hotspot for innovation scenario 1 is where the current product or service, whether it's yours or somebody else's, your competitors, where the current product or service is providing more value than the customer needs to achieve what he or she wants to achieve. When that happens, the opportunity for innovation is to create a product or service that provides less value, but does it at a lower overall cost to the customer, whether it's a lower cost in terms of time, or energy, or money on the part of the customer. So I have a little case study here. Starbucks versus McDonald's McCafe. For a number of years, Starbucks was selling, and still continues to do, really high-end, high-quality cappuccino, frappuccino, lattes, and so on. And people were willing to pay $4 or $5 for a cup of coffee. But there was a portion of the segment, there was a segment of the market, I should say, a segment of the market that did not want to pay that much money for a cup of coffee, or they just flat out were not willing to pay that much money for a cup of coffee. McDonald's saw the opportunity to innovate, and they created the McDonald's McCafe, which also now has frappuccino and cappuccino and latte. Maybe it's not quite as great as a Starbucks coffee, but it's at a much lower overall cost to the customer. So there was an opportunity to innovate. Hotspot for innovation number 2 that you want to look for is where is the current product or service not providing enough value for the customer to achieve what he or she wants to achieve. No matter how cheap it is, no matter how inexpensive this current product or service is, if it's not providing enough value for the customer to achieve what he or she wants to achieve, it's a waste of money. Then there's an opportunity to innovate because you can create more value than there already exists that the customer will be willing to pay for. Here's a case study. About 7 or 8 years ago, about 8 years ago I guess now, in airports you used to always see people walking around with an iPod for music, a cell phone for phone calls and voicemail, and a laptop computer for email and doing a variety of other things. It was inconvenient, it was a pain to carry all 3 around, but when the iPhone came out, it cost a lot more than the cell phones of 2006. In July of 2007, the iPhone came out, and some people were amazed at how much it cost. But they sold like crazy because the value was so much more appropriate for what customers wanted.